welcome to another episode of Motors for the Masses on this glorious sunny day, and today we are doing modifications to my FB Mondial 125. Woohoo!
So, what are we up to? Well, Mark's bought some random stuff.
What's in these packets and boxes, I hear you ask? Well, stuff is in here. Stuff is in here.
Stuff is down there.
Stuff was in there. Stuff is in here. And if you want to see how this chopping board becomes a number plate holder, stay tuned. Okay, so we've just been out and bought some nice little bolts to match the ones on the bike and some black matte spray. And what we're going to do first is take this off. So the plan is to remove this bracket here straight away. Take this off and this one and the other side, and we've got to make sure that this wire is still in place because we still need a number plate light. So let's get cracking on that. So these are Allen head bolts.
Yep. 2 on each side. I'm just loosening them for the moment because I need to go and get some cutters and remove the number plate light wire. Otherwise we're going to end up with it attached by its wire, and that's no good.
You lost your cutters?
I have. I don't know where they've gone. I think they're probably with the car. I'm just nipping through. Pop those off.
Job done.
There's one up here as well. Hidden one.
Inside there we have obviously this wire which goes to the number plate light, so that's got to come out. That's quite straightforward.
I need to figure out where it's plugged in at the other end, really.
And what we're going to do is use this reflector to bolt onto the new bracket at the bottom. As you can see, with that rear bracket removed, the bike looks 100 times better already, I think. Should have done that straight away.
So that's the reflector liberated.
So now this old number plate light is removed.
Well,
you can see
it's free, but we need to
we need to
sort the wiring out.
Decide what we're going to do with the wire. Might just cut the wire and join them together with a couple of proper connectors. This is the old one, and these are the new ones. I say these. I paid $2.99 on a popular auction site online. $2.99 for a pair. We're only going to use one because they're pretty bright LED. So that is going to replace that. As you can see, quite a bit of difference. Let's come a bit closer there.
Are you sure? I quite like that number plate light, and I reckon that might work.
Okay, apparently there's a debate now. You like that number plate light?
Yeah, and I think in the overall look, that'll look quite nice.
I don't think it will. I think it's going to be too cumbersome for what we're going to have. Because bearing in mind it's only going to be a minimalist bracket. We don't want a big cumbersome bracket. That's the whole point of getting rid of this.
Yeah, fair point.
So it's bye-bye for this and hello to this.
Out with the old, in with the new.
Exactly. And it's my bike, so there.
Yep.
So now with the side panel removed, it's just a couple of Allen key head bolts. Side panel comes off quite easily. One here, one at the front, and one on the top here. So that comes out. We can see where the wires go. We're going to need this off because these are being replaced too, and you'll see that in a minute. So the wire comes through here. They're just push connectors. That's fairly straightforward. Now the way this wire goes all the way around the swing arm and up through here, it's going to be a little bit difficult to connect it. So the easiest thing is to just snip the wire at the head and join on the new number plate light.
Although I think what we'll actually do is snip it up here where we can hide the joint.
Okay.
And that also leaves it available that if, should you wish, you can put it back to original just by reconnecting these wires.
Fair enough. Now I have seen on some people's bikes that they have removed this. I know it's only a bit of plastic, but I actually quite like it. So that's going to stay, but there's going to be some new indicators bolted onto here. And the indicators have the brake lights built in, so we're going to wire that in to the brake light as well. Here we go. There it is, snipped.
Okay, so I've worked out where I want the joint to be, so that's here, behind this shock tower, so we can hide it. I've removed this sleeve here, so I've exposed some wire. And what I should do is, with the other piece that we cut off, I'll take the sleeve and I'll make it long enough to cover both these wires and the new piece for the LED lights. And that'll tidy it up nicely. Pop a little bit of tape around there, be hidden away nicely behind that shock.
So the plan now is to remount this number plate. This is where the chopping board comes in. What we're going to do is put the number plate on the chopping board. Obviously we'll cut it to size, but we'll leave a lip along the bottom so the reflector can go on the bottom, and then the L plate can bolt onto that, and the number plate light will stick on a little knobble on the top. So let's get cutting. I would like to point out at this stage that there is a slight negative with this bike, and that is these grips. Now obviously they are brown to match the seat, but one, this is a slightly different shade brown to this one, and they get dirty and faded very, very easily. Now I have heard that the white bike with the red grips is worse, and these end up going pink very quickly. But this one is fading. It's not too bad, but it's slightly annoying. So the plan is to first of all draw around the number plate just to measure where it's going to be cut. Just with a pencil around the outside. Like so. By the way, this chopping board was only £1. There we go. So, with that in place, this obviously needs to be centralised. So this will go in the middle, and it's best to get a tape measure or a cheap school ruler and measure. That, of course, is where the number plate light's going to be, so we're just going to draw around that.
We'll make that look pretty.
We'll make that look pretty when we cut it out, yes. So what we'll do now is just use the edge of this, because it's nice and curved, put it over here so we know roughly where it goes there, and draw around it. So that is pretty much what it's going to look like before it's bolted on. Doesn't look much now, but once it's done and it's sprayed black, that's going to look pucker. It's like Jamie Oliver. Okay, and there is the finished product at the moment. Obviously, just need to measure up the holes and make sure they're in the right place, and measure up the hole for this, and then measure up the holes for that, and then spray this. So let's get on with that. There will be some edges, because there's a slight edge here. The thing with a jigsaw, it's not always easy to get a completely flat. So you just use a blade and just shave off the edges like so, just to smooth it up and make sure nothing sticks out the side of the number plate. It might take you a good 10-15 minutes to do it, but it's worth it. Then once you've finished cutting off the edges with the blade, just a bit of rough sandpaper should get rid of the rough edges. So there it is with the holes all marked out, and all we have to do now is drill these holes and then spray it black.
So obviously we need to think about how we're going to mount this to the bike. So we're going to have a piece of angle, which we'll cut down in a minute, and we'll fix that on the back like so to create a nice angled piece to fix to, and then we'll create a couple of legs to bolt to the frame, and then with our other piece of angle we'll make a diagonal piece that also goes off to the frame, so we've got a nice rigid 3-point triangle tripod thing. So I'm going to crack on with that. So there's our bit, that will go on there. So I'm now just going to quickly drill a couple of holes in this piece of aluminium so that we can mark onto our plastic
And
where it's going to go.
Screws will be countersunk so it won't make the number plate raised.
So it'll be countersunk on this side, so it's going to be completely flat still.
Okay, this could be technical with line drawing and stuff, but it's called going by using your eye. That could be dangerous, but Malcolm is an expert. Are you an expert?
No, but that's the whole point. We're trying to display that anyone can do simple modifications to their motorcycles or cars or whatever. That's the whole point.
Exactly that.
Basic
yes.
tools, basic skills.
And let's be honest, the best people go by using their initiative and their eye.
Absolutely.
Especially if you've got plenty of experience doing it.
There you go. What would be quite useful, however, if you're going to countersink things, is some countersink drill bits.
And these, to be honest, are only about £8 a pack.
Yeah, I mean they're not expensive and they're super useful because you can use them in metal, wood, whatever. So if you want to lose the head of a screw into something, these are what you need.
Apologies for the ambient noise there, but we cannot control local
Neighbours.
neighbours. Yeah.
Where are screws at? In your hand, thank you. So work out where you want your hole. Carefully with your safety squints on. Drill and hole. Change a bit to one of your countersinks, which you can also use as a very handy deburring tool. Just to get rid of all the little bits that stick up after you've drilled a hole. There you go, nice and tidy. So we know what way we want this up. We know where we want this. So, for the sake of ease and whiz, I'm just going to draw it on this side. So all the dots are on the same side when I drill the plastic. So when it comes to countersinking your screw holes, you simply drill your hole there, select your screw, select your countersink bit to suit the head size, because you obviously want this to sink into whatever you're drilling into. And you simply drill into it, like so, until just the side of this flat piece just starts to go in, and then you'll lose the whole head of that screw into a nice flush mount on your item. So there we go, so here we go. And just drop it in, like so. Having mounted that on there, we're just going to mock it all up so we can get everything sort of made and drilled prior to doing any kind of painting.
Get a rough idea of what needs cutting.
Yeah. So this is going to be here-ish.
Yes, about there.
So we're a little ways from the bracket that we want to mount to, which you probably can't see via the plastic, to be honest, if you just twist that way. So we're a little ways off. So we're going to use a piece of this to go from here to the bottom of there, and another one to go from here to somewhere around there, I guess. And then we'll take a piece of this smaller one, we'll flatten the end and bend it over and mount it over here on the outside of the number plate, and take it to the top bolt, and that will create a nice tripod effect and make it nice and rigid.
I think it needs to be slightly higher, because obviously if the L plate's going down here, it's going to be right down here.
Yeah, so I mean this piece is going to be in line with the bottom bracket. So
yeah, sort of there.
Yeah.
It'll be.
So there you go.
Nice. And
That's
an
the
angle
plan.
like so.
Yep.
Yeah. And this is where we're at so far. So there it is. These are nicely countersunk. And this is made like so, and that will sit and screw into the original holes from the original bracket. It's coming along nicely. Top notch. So what we've also got is some new mirrors. Now these ones are quite big and cumbersome, so gone for these, and they will sit on the end there like that. Quite a lot smaller and much more cafe racer style, I think. So this little rubber grommet comes out of the end, and an 8mm Allen key is needed to undo it. It's very simple, to be honest, and they're not really done up that tight. Malcolm's drilling. That's one out, and to put it in, it's only a small Allen key. What's that, about 4mm? It's very different though. It comes with this little nut and this.
It's meant to be a hollow hole, that end of the handlebar.
All you need to do is take the old bolt out, and it actually screws quite nicely through here. Bit of a result, that. Okay, so this will screw in here, but this washer is not quite big enough. So all we need to do is just drill that slightly larger. So that's what I'll do now. So with that now drilled out a little bit, that now slides in there nicely. So all we do, let's put that in there like so, screw that through, and back into the original thread. And there we go. Obviously taking the cellophane off. Now that is a very different mirror. Much neater, I think.
It's odd looking down at them, but...
So as a comparison, you've got this monstrosity on this end and this neat and tidy little one on this end. Very happy with them. Now don't worry, all the links for all the parts that we use will be in the description below with all the prices. So if you want to do this, you can. So here it is mocked up in place. It's pretty rigid actually, and it doesn't stick out any further than that foot peg, so that is pretty spot on. All we've got to do now is dismantle it, spray that, and put it back together. And whilst it's drying, we'll change the indicators. So once the bracket is off, all we need to do is wipe it over with some thinners or some acetone, just to get all the grease off before it's sprayed. So just wipe it all down. Very simple. Gets all the sticky label off as well that was stuck on there. And then that will be ready for me to spray. So now these are ready to be sprayed. So we have our matte black spray. Just going to give them a good going over. Okay, first coat done. Let's leave it to dry. Only take about 20 minutes. So now comes the indicators. Obviously these are the ones that come with the biker standard, and these are the ones that are going on, and they're a combination of indicator and brake lights. So we're going to wire them into the brake lights as well. And it's a bit fiddly because the wires go through here in a little hole, but if your perseverance pays off, you'll get it out. Just don't yank on the wires because you could break them. So for now, the rear indicators are on. The rear indicators work, as you can see, left and right. The brake is not wired up yet, that's the next bit. Now the front indicators are not that easy to get to because they're inside the headlight unit, so that's going to be on the next video. But for now, you can see the wiring. I do apologise, by the way, I've had to switch to GoPro because some numpty, namely me, did not charge all the batteries. So the wires have been poked through and they are being soldered on to the original wiring in there. So here is the number plate bracket on, and as you can see, it makes quite a bit of difference, I think. All we have to do now is wire up the number plate light. The number plate light has been put in and is just being soldered on. So the wiring for the rear is done. All the wiring is in there. We have brake lights, indicators and other lights. So are you ready? Let's fire that up and have a look. So main lights on. We've got lights and we've got little lights. We've got indicator, other indicator and brake lights. Lovely. That's very novel. And with that moved to one side number plate and L plate, that back tyre looks rather fat now. Loving that. We were going to remove the pegs, the rear pegs. Now there's two reasons why that hasn't been done. One, because to do it on this side you have to actually undo and remove the exhaust. And 2, I actually use this rear peg to mount my GoPro when I'm riding along, and it's quite effective. So I'm a bit reluctant to do that. The only thing we haven't done today is the front indicators. So they are still the old indicators. But again, the reason why that hasn't been done is because, again, 2 reasons. 1, a little bit of lack of time, and 2, because still considering whether to remove and change this headlight unit. So that's going to come later, I think, but I'm now going to stop at the side of the road on the way home and take some nice photographs. So they are coming up. So that brings us to the end of this episode of Motors for the Masses. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope you got some ideas, and if you didn't, then I hope you just enjoyed the video. We're going to be back next week, and we are heading to Silverstone for Ford Fair, so that'll be a great event, I think. So we will see you next week, and until then, thanks for tuning in. But remember, please ride and drive carefully and have fun. And
don't forget to subscribe.
Oh yes, thank you.
And make comments and click like or dislike.
And at this moment in time, and it is about 6:30, I think, on Saturday evening, we are at 1,905 subscribers. It's phenomenal how this is going up and up and up. We're very grateful to all of you. Thank you very much. Don't forget, the link for the giveaway, which is still running, has about another 7 days to run, is in the description below. And you can win an Amazon Echo Dot and one of these t-shirts. Again, until next time, ride and drive carefully. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.